Welcome back to Ramblers Forever. We left you about a week ago, finishing up on our first half of our summer trip. I think we left off there. If you guys are, I think we left off on about the end of June when we were in Salt Lake City going to the concert. So, Julie, start with what we did after the concert. That was the concert was June 26th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're up to June 27th.
Yeah, and Wally woke up in the morning and said we're gonna head to Wyoming. So we got into the car and started driving up to Wyoming. We spent the day driving that day and did a whole bunch of things.
And pick up the dog.
And then we washed the truck, and just regular things going on. And then we stayed at the Clarion Hotel, and it wasn't the best. We weren't too happy there.
Don't know
It
where
was
that
it was
was.
okay.
What hotel? What city? Do you remember?
I don't have that down.
I don't remember.
I think that was up there
In
in
Wyoming
Wyoming, yeah.
somewhere?
And then he got up the next morning and said I didn't want to go to Wyoming, so we went back down to Moab.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right. I do like Moab.
So we spent another day in the car. We drove. We took the road through down the interstate, and then road from Rock Springs to Moab, and it was beautiful. We found a beautiful road or drive there. Had the river.
Yeah, I would like to go back there because there's rafting in there. I remember
Mhm.
we saw a bunch of rafters out there. That's the Colorado, right? Yeah, the Colorado. It's a very hilly road and curvy road, right?
It wasn't so much until we got to Moab,
No,
but it was
into Moab.
Yeah, coming into Moab, and then we found this place called Flaming Gorge, and you wanted me to write that down because that was something you wanted to go back to. I think that was where they did all the rafting and the side by sides and things like that.
We probably have some. If you go back in our videos, I'm sure we took some pictures of that area, of the rafters and things that day, toward the end of June. And that'd be something I have to go back to at some time again because I do want to go rafting at some time before I get too old.
And then when we got closer to Moab, there was the road turned very, very curvy, and he wanted to go fast down it, and I was holding on for dear life.
It was hard not to go fast down it. You'd have your brakes on constantly, even downshifting in the truck. So it was just hard to keep it at the speed because of how hilly it was going into Moab. So.
Well, we made it into Moab, and then we stayed at the Best Western there, and we stayed a couple days. It was it's still hot, but we decided to stay there a couple days. We ate at Dewey's, that little steak restaurant. We walked
Recommend
over
that.
there.
That's a good place to eat.
I guess a couple days before.
Oh,
they had flooding or something, a real bad storm or something. So everything in the middle of the streets, the roads, everything just had mud in it, or lots of dirt.
That creek, if anybody's been through Moab, there's a creek that goes right through town there, and it went over its banks. And that's like right next to the Best Western we stayed at, and the streets were just terrible, and it was a lot of rain. That was before we got there,
yeah. So there was a lot of cleanup going on by everyone and in the town. So, but we stayed at that Best Western, and they don't allow dogs, but they let us have dogs, so we were able to stay there.
They weren't very busy. Lady was super nice at the front desk. I think we stayed 3 nights.
I think so,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And she was, that's one of the, we've stayed at that hotel before. There's 2 Best Westerns there in town. This is the, looks more like a Western, the older Best Western in town. I can't remember the exact name of it, but very clean, very good breakfast. You can sit outside in the morning and see the people on the in street view of people going down, walking up and down the street there. So it is, I would recommend that hotel. So we did some things there in Moab for a couple
Yeah,
days.
we went to the Lions Park that was right there, right in on the edge of town. It was beautiful, nice. Remember, it had that great bridge, and then we walked along the mountain.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of hiking right there. Plus, if you take the dog, because I mean, we're talking about hiking. It was just walking along the Colorado
it's just
River.
walking. Yeah.
And they have a jet boat that goes out of there too, right? Wasn't there a jet boat that was taking people for rides?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can jet boat right there on the Colorado. And it's weird, since living on the Colorado in Parker, the color of the water in Utah, because of, I presume, the clay bottom versus the sandy, rocky bottom of Arizona desert. Because remember how orange
Well,
the river was?
it was, and we also thought maybe because of all the rains that they
rain.
had too, it might have. But the water looked very dirty.
Not compared to what we're used to seeing where we lived in Parker, where the water, you could see 6 feet, 7 feet down. So it was interesting to see that clayish color of the Colorado. So, but I would recommend seeing that. There's some things to do in Moab, especially if you're hiking, 4-wheeling. There's how many different places to rent side-by-sides, ATVs. That's all Moab.
Well, the next day we went the other direction, and remember they had the little campsites along the road.
Yeah.
That you could.
Actually, they're free, I do believe, aren't they? Or
either that, or they had a little box to
put some money in.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be no restrooms or anything like that. There was nothing. It was just you could camp, but there was no place to any facilities in that area.
Yeah, they were. Oh yeah, all campsites were dry.
Yeah.
The first day we went through Arches National Park, and we just drove through there because it was so hot by the time we got there that we didn't walk around. But we drove through all the little stops they had to
Plus, we had the dog.
arches. Yeah.
So can't really get out and hike with a dog.
And then the next day we went to Canyonlands. That's where we met the Iowa girls.
Oh yeah, they've been on.
Oh,
how many weeks?
We learned about corn sweat.
Yeah, they've been, because we grew up in Iowa. And we met 2 girls that once I think one graduated from college, and they had planned that trip for a long time. The 2 girls, they were just best friends, and they decided they were going to travel for a few weeks in the summer. So we saw them.
They actually camped though.
Yeah, they were camping. They did a better job camping than we ever did. So they were very nice. We met a lot of nice people over the summer at different locations. So what we did that day was, and that gets us up to, that was, I believe, on Sunday, the June 30th or something like that. So.
And then that was the night that the electricity went out in the hotel in the middle of the night. Remember that? It was out for a few hours.
Oh yeah. And that's not good. And it was hot because everywhere was hot this past summer. Didn't matter if you're in Arizona or wherever, it was hot. we were trying to get away from the heat, and really, the heat kind of just followed us through the summer, I guess.
And then on the 1st, July 1st, we packed up and we started headed toward Denver. And we took the drive along I-70. That's beautiful drive there.
Oh yeah, once you go, get up on that road from Moab and go north and get up onto 70 and
Gorgeous.
take it into Denver. Beautiful, beautiful drive because you follow Colorado River quite a bit through there. And we stopped. There's a few. Got some. A couple tunnels you go through.
And then we stopped off at this Grizzly Creek rest stop that we've stopped there before.
Don't miss it, because if you gotta be watching for it, because you'll miss it really easy. And they put rafts in and out right there too. There's a lot of rafting going on through there. Water's a little flowing pretty fast through there.
But they have a really nice walking path back there.
And that's in the videos. You go back and sort through those. We did some videos through there because that's a very pretty area in Colorado.
And then we drove a little bit further, and then we saw a sign for Hanging Lake. And unfortunately, it was closed, I think, because of the rainstorm, wasn't it? It was kind of
it's only open. It's only like one way in and one way out of that. To exit, there's only like exits closes. So I don't know if anybody's been there. Leave some comments in that. But it looks like it'd be a great place to next time through there. We'll have to stop in there, but it was shut off. You couldn't get in.
Yeah, it sounded like that was a beautiful place to go hiking back into. So, stayed at Comfort Inn. Then we drove to Ogallala, Nebraska. And we stayed at a beautiful Best Western. Oh, it was gorgeous. It was a very nice hotel. In fact, we decided to stay there another couple days, I think because of medicine
I had
purposes.
to pick up I had to transfer some medicines over to Walmart there. And that's right on the western side of Nebraska, right when you're coming in. So never even, I guess we've been through there, but I never stopped in there before. But they got a lake there, right? You can't get in to see it. You gotta. Everybody, sorry Nebraska, but y'all claim how great this lake is, but you can't. There's no place to actually go in and enjoy it because they have it all.
You have to pay
fees.
Every single entrance in, you had to pay to get in.
So beautiful lake. Sorry Nebraska, not the way to do it. I'll complain on that one because you should be able to go see a lake without paying for it. So, and they proud of that lake too. So, because that's where they said everybody you need to go and hang out, but you can't hang out unless you pay for it, I guess. So. After there, we went into...
we went to Hastings, Nebraska, because we were going to stop in. Well, we stayed there for a couple days. We tried their restaurant, Renza. That's the Midwest restaurant there in Ogallala, in that area. Or in Nebraska, I should say. Remember? No, you don't remember?
Not really.
Okay. And then the next day we drove to Hastings, Nebraska, because I was told that my grandfather donated a tractor to this museum, and it was sitting in the museum, but there was no tractors in the museum.
A lot of other things.
There's a lot of things, but there's no.
I stayed outside. There's a park right next to it, and dog and I sat out in the park and wait for Julie to come back from walking through the museum. So dog was okay sitting in the park and sitting in the shade. It wasn't terribly hot that day. And they have a lake was that the town that had the lake in it too? We drove around it and They had a lake in that town too, didn't they? I think.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Well, then this was July 4th, so then we drove into Lincoln, Nebraska, and we stayed at a very nice Best Western there. And then we saw, I mean, we weren't planning on seeing fireworks, but there was so many fireworks out the window. They must have had some sort of ruling in Nebraska that they were able to do. And I think
Anybody
we
could
looked
do-
up, yeah, I think it
Anybody
was,
could shoot off because there were so many different fireworks displays going on
yeah,
in that town.
yeah,
We saw fireworks for a long time
yeah.
that night. So that was kind of cool.
And then we drove to Fremont after that, visited my grandparents' grave sites, and then we stopped off at my great grandparents' grave site and saw that. Then we drove into town and visited my aunt. She is in a nursing home or assisted living there.
Oh, you did. We couldn't go in with a dog.
No.
So
So I went in to visit her and visited with her for a little while. And then we drove to Atlantic, Iowa, and then visited a couple friends that live there.
I had my old boss from my days at Airgas retired from Arizona to Iowa. So didn't know Iowa put up so many windmills or wind turbines in the western part of the state. A lot of wind turbines there. So we chatted with him and his wife for a few hours in Atlantic, Iowa. And onward we went.
Then we went to Des Moines and we stopped off at the Clive Best Western again.
Good hotel.
And the Good Guys car show was going on, so a lot of them were staying at the hotel that we were at and the one right next to us. There was a lot of the old cars in the parking lot there.
That was kind of neat to see.
And then Wally
Talked to a lot of car guys.
ended up getting started seeing these little bites all over him. On that day.
I don't think we didn't get it from. I don't know where.
We didn't get it from that Best
I
Western.
don't know what hotel we stayed at. Don't know what they were, but I had them. I presume they were bed bugs. I don't know. I had bites all over them, but Julie didn't get bit up, so I don't know what it was. Who knows? Maybe it got bit up sitting in the grass at Salt Lake. I don't know. But I fought that for. Shoot, I had those
long
on
time.
me for. The itch terrible, and I had them for. Took forever to heal up.
It had to have been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to the Good Guys show too, at the fairgrounds, didn't we? Then.
Yeah, we ended up going, but that wasn't then. But we
wasn't
did.
then?
It wasn't that day. We just got into Des Moines that day.
But
the
I
next
met a
day.
couple people. They were vendors, just by yakking.
And that was at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, but they gave us passes. We got
yeah,
it.
that's right.
Remember, we got like great passes to park. They had, because they were vendors, they had extra passes. So we got passes to park in there, plus to get in there free, just by meeting a couple people at breakfast at the Best Western. And they go, and we were saying, hey, we're gonna go to the car show, blah blah blah. And they go, here's a couple passes. So it's always nice to talk to people that are friendly and, gave us the opportunity to go to Good Guys didn't cost us anything.
Right. Right.
And then I think afterward went and visited my brother and his wife for a little bit, right, that day.
Yeah, we saw your sister, and then we
sister.
went to.
Oh yeah, because sister's watching the dog. So.
And she loves our dog.
Yes, my sister loves the dog and gives us opportunity to have each time we were in Des Moines area, it gave us a place to stop by and regroup. And later on, we stayed there for a few days too. But she was our go-to to watch Dear Andy when we were doing our things in Iowa. So if my sister watches this, thanks again. Appreciate it very much. You were a sweetheart for watching the doggy. So, and then we're on to where.
Well, right after we had I wrote down we had the great tenderloins there. Those were delicious.
Oh, they were good.
And then, then the next day was your birthday.
Yeah.
And, we decided to go to your grandparents. So we drove to Hopkins, Delaware, and Delhi, Iowa. We found the graves and we found your old home and then the lake.
Yeah. And Lake Delhi, yeah, or something like that.
And then we stayed at Coralville and at Best Western because it was a little too far to do all of that in one day. So then we stayed in Coralville, Best Western, and then we drove to Des Moines, back to Des Moines the next day. Met my sister and brother-in-law there.
Oh yeah, because they were still working on the house.
Still working on the house. I helped them a little bit. I helped them pick up the linoleum. We looked at their floors. I think they had finished the sanding and refinishing the floors.
Sanding and refinishing the floors at that time.
We had dinner with them. And I still say you're still having problems with your bug bites. And then that's when we met that guy who was talking about Lake Ozark. So we decided the next day to head off to Lake Ozark on our way to Texas because we were going to go and see my mom for a little while.
See, we're still looking. We're still. Was this the second time to Lake Ozarks? Or the first time?
This was the second time to Lake Ozark.
So we kept on being drawn back to Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh no, this was our first time.
First time?
This was our first time to Lake Ozark.
So, but through this, and hopefully we can get through this today in 60 minutes. We'll have to speed up a little bit. So we headed to Lake Ozarks on our way to see your mom, right?
And then we stayed at a hotel called the Resort, and
they got to know us well over the summer.
Yes.
They have a bar, and they're called the Encore. Anybody's been to Lake Ozarks probably been to the Encore. The hotel's okay. I mean, we have to stay in the rooms that are for dog so you can have your pet. So they're nothing fancy, but they're okay. It was humid at that time. But the highlight was going to the Encore at night and during happy hour, right?
Of course, yes.
And it overlooks the lake and
right,
and
the
beautiful,
marina and stuff.
Yeah, beautiful view at the Encore.
But on our way there, Wally was setting up places for us to go see with our realtor. So the next day we spent the day looking at condos around here in Lake Ozark. And then the next day we drove back over to Hot Springs, and we decided that we didn't want to stay in Hot Springs. We were drawn back to Lake Ozark.
Yeah, because we were looking at Hot Springs, Arkansas too.
On the way after we left from the cruise, we went that direction too.
Because Lake Hamilton, we were kind of looking at homes there. It seemed to be a little bit more expensive and not quite as many things to do that there is to do in Lake of the Ozarks. So I guess I'm glad, because now I've been reading all they're doing around that area is putting, where was that? I don't know, but I'm glad we didn't choose that area. Nothing against
Arkansas.
That area, Arkansas, we think the Ozarks was a better fit, I guess.
And then after that, we stopped at Bryant at the Best Western by Little Rock, and Trump was shot that day. So we
Oh, yeah.
spent the evening
Watching
watching
the news, I
the
guess.
news and doing that. Then we looked at 3 properties over there, and then we moved on our way to Texas. And then I spent the week there at in Texas. Took my mom to a few doctor's appointments. We didn't do much while we were there.
Yeah, we just hung out there because Julie's sister and her husband were in Iowa, so we were just kind of stopped by just to see Julie's mom there for a few days.
It looks like it rained there a few days. Okay, well, then we stayed there for like a week, and then we took off on the 24th. Oh, yeah, we were going to head on up to Sturgis after that.
Oh, yeah, it was Sturgis time.
So then we drove up to Oklahoma City. We stayed at a Best Western there, and we ate at Toby Keith's restaurant. I Love This Bar, I think is what it was called. Toby Keith's I Love This Bar.
Yeah, he had passed, right? I don't know when he had passed.
Shortly before
that, but he has one there.
Or earlier.
Or whenever. Yeah, he has one on the outskirts of Oklahoma City, and then he has one in downtown Oklahoma City too, I think. So, is that where you finished off on that?
Yeah, I didn't copy them all. So then
We're 26 minutes in, Julie.
oh, okay.
So we're into August because we drove to. When did we get to Sturgis?
I'm sorry.
Isn't that where we're going?
Yeah, then we headed up, and then of course we stopped at Ozark again, looked at another few homes, and then we drove up to Winnett's, up into Des Moines, and we dropped the dog off because
yeah. She was kind enough. She's gonna watch our doggy when we. This is when we stayed. Yeah, she watched her dog when we went to Sturgis, so we didn't have to take the dog along on that. And then
we stayed at the Clive Best Western again. And then we found this place on that trip on our way back. That was our first time seeing this place. And then we drove up to Winnett's, and then we headed off to Sioux Falls. Oh, that's the night it rained, hailed, and wind up to 60 miles an hour.
This is on our way to Sturgis.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got up in the middle of the night because it was hailing. It started to hail, and I got up and moved the truck to around the side of the building underneath the canopy.
Yeah.
Didn't want hail damage. I didn't want to deal with insurance companies on that. So luckily, knocking back. Yeah.
That's a really nice hotel.
People have, yeah, that was a nice hotel. People don't want to deal with that if you get hail damage. It's always a mess.
Then we went to the next morning we went up to the Sioux Falls Park, and we walked around the park. It was beautiful. We watched the falls and read about its history there, and took the dog with us, so she was able to.
That's a good place to, never been there. Interesting place, interesting history of Sioux Falls, so highly recommend stopping by there. And they have they've got a cafe there now, and they've tore down the dam. They used to make electricity. It was it wasn't in a mill. What was it? What did they used to make there?
Flour.
Flour? It was a flour mill.
It was a flour mill.
So now it's just, and that's on our pass videos that you can see. Very beautiful. There's a tower you can walk up to the top to there. It's we do 2 stops there because our son, we get on to Sturgis, don't we? And then
Yeah, we're not on
Not there
at
yet?
Sturgis yet, but he met us up in Sturgis and then drove back with us. So, but on our way to right after that, then we drove to Arrowhead Resort. That was the resort that we took the kids at when they were real little. We just drove through there, and then we stopped off at the Baymont of Wyndham in Acoma, and we found Al's Oasis,
oh yeah, that's a
where I
neat
took
little
a picture
place.
with the bull.
Yeah, that's a neat little place there on your way.
Hmm.
So anybody, yeah, going Sturgis, need to stop by Al's Oasis.
And then we drove over to Sturgis and we stopped by Wall Drug.
Everybody needs to make a stop at Waldrug.
Did a little shopping there. Enjoyed looking around there. A lot different. And we drove into Sturgis and we got to the hotel. And we went downtown and we looked around, and I just wrote down it was very hot. I think that's all we did that night was we just walked around downtown.
Year before we got wet, so this year we didn't.
Then we went to the firehouse for
This year we didn't
dinner.
get rained on, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent 5 nights in Sturgis.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent a couple days by ourselves. I'm just speeding it up a little bit. We spent 5 nights there. I think our son came in on the 3rd night or something like that. He flew in and we picked him up at the airport, I think, and he stayed with us for a couple days. And then we took him back to. We do anything special when we were in Sturgis other than?
Well, we went to that
stuff?
park that was right there next to the Best Western.
Oh, we did some.
Enigma.
You need to walk. There's a park right in Rapid City. We're not in Sturgis. We stayed at Rapid City. We enjoy Rapid City. No matter where you stay in the Sturgis area, campgrounds, whatever, it's a drive wherever you go, because Rapid City to Sturgis to Deadwood, you're in that area. So there's a lot of traffic, motorcycles. There's a Harley Davidson right outside of Rapid City. Had a lot of things going on, things to do every day. Went to Sturgis, walked downtown Sturgis a couple times.
Went to the Harley Davidson a couple times.
Yeah, and then went over Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we once or twice, I think.
We went once by ourselves, and then the next time we took Corey with us.
So there's plenty of things to do. Of course, when we were there, we went Mount Rushmore. I mean, you're in Rapid City, you're only 20 minutes from Mount Rushmore. Again, if you go to Rapid City, you get to, there's presidents on I think we've discussed that before, on every corner, and there's, you can download it on your phone, I believe.
There's a walking map, and then
you can go. We didn't see all the presidents. We got up to.
We looked at several of them.
No, I mean we saw, but I didn't see him pass. Was it Bush? Was our last one?
Yeah, that's the last one they have
that we saw, I think.
Yeah.
But they're on like every street corner in downtown Rapid City. A lot of cool little restaurants in downtown Rapid City to hang out at. There's a speakeasy in one of the restaurants you can go downstairs to and have old-fashioned drinks and things like that to go down. The Firehouse restaurant, I believe it's old fire station, good place to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did in in Sturgis. And, of course, going to, Deadwood there's different things to do. Sturgis, there's different things to do. And Rapid City, there's things to do. So all in that area, just pick your choice, I guess, and you'll stay busy for a week easy.
Mm-hmm.
So plan on spending some money.
Yes. You want to talk about your Bloody Mary you had at Sturgis?
I wish I could remember. He's only open for basically Sturgis, isn't he?
It's called the Wine Bar, Tom T's Wine Bar.
And they're only open for that.
They're only open those 2 weeks that Sturgis is there.
They must do well.
Or during the motorcycle rally, I should say.
They don't have a liquor license. They only have a wine and beer license, but they can turn their wine mixture into
they make
bloody.
Yeah,
you can have a different couple.
You
would have had a vodka and cranberry out of wine.
Yes.
So he can do some amazing things with that license, and the Bloody Mary is fantastic. It's basically a meal in itself. So do highly recommend the Bloody Mary there.
And every single day I rode, it was very hot. It was just.
Year before we got rained on every day. This year, this past summer, it was just it was hot. Sturgis was hot. It was just it was a hot summer.
Then we left there and we went to we took Corey to World Drug on our way back, and then we had him stop in Al's Oasis on the way back.
Oh yeah, he rode with us back to Iowa.
Right.
He flew in and then he hitched a ride back to Iowa with us in the car.
And then we stopped off at Sioux City and stayed at that same hotel at the Best Western, and then we took him to the Sioux City Park the next day.
Right, and we also stopped at somewhere along there. There was a old riverboat that they had put up on shore.
Right, then we drove to Sioux City and took our time at the falls. We're not there yet. Oh yeah. We went. That was where the Hard Rock Casino was. Hard Rock.
Yeah, we hung out there for afternoon. Hard Rock Casino.
And then on our way, when we were walking, we found the Lewis and Clark boat.
Yeah. So that's
for Sergeant Floyd.
That's kind of neat to see. So if you get a chance to see that, it's up on the shore now. But it talks about the history.
A little museum inside the boat.
Yep.
And we drove right to Des Moines again and saw his sister. Picked up.
No, we stayed there because of the fair.
Oh.
It was fair time.
It was fair
So
time.
that's why because Corey came.
Corey went us to the fair.
Yeah, so Corey, that's why he came back. His plans was, and our plans was, to go to Iowa State Fair. We've been gone from Iowa for 30 years, and we haven't been to the Iowa State Fair for years. And people that know, a lot of people like the Iowa State Fair. Mm-hmm. So we went to the Iowa State Fair and hung out. We stayed at my sister's house for a few days. She watched the dog. We went to the fairgrounds. Thanks again to my sister. Did the fair. Then after the fair.
Then we took off for Lake Ozark again, and then we.
We dropped in.
This was our third trip.
We dropped. Then Corey flew out.
Yes.
There, out of Des Moines back to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went back to the Ozarks again, right?
Right. We actually, before we left, though, we went to Jason's. We went to Abby's pizza place.
Yeah. My oldest son, he has his grandpa used to own La Pizza House. And then I do believe it was his grandson had the same recipe from the old days, and it opened a pizza place up in Bondurant. So we went there and had pizza and I've never met the grandson and met him, and then enjoyed that.
And it was called Abby's.
It's called Abby's.
The
Yeah,
restaurant's
okay.
called Abby's. And then we drove back down to Lake Ozark and we looked at some more places. We stayed in the hotel at the resort and the Encore again, but we didn't have as much fun this time because Wally got sick.
Oh, I was thinking it just got cleared up from the bug bites, and then I came down with, I presume probably from, who knows, from Sturgis, from the fairground. I mean, we were around how many people in Sturgis and how many people around at the Iowa State Fair. But I was pretty down and out for a few days, laying in bed. You didn't get sick though.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did on that one?
Yeah, we decided to leave out on the 14th, and then I was not feeling well that whole trip back. We just went back to Phoenix.
I went back to Phoenix and stayed with Corey.
Mm-hmm.
So did the fair, went back to Missouri. Didn't have much fun this time in Missouri because I was sick for the entire time we were at the Ozarks. Then we headed for Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed in Phoenix for a few days.
Yeah, we got there on the 16th. It was 112.
Yippee-yi-yi.
I still didn't feel well, and we stayed at the Best Western on Northern there. And then we went over to Corey's. We spent a few days there. That's when we helped Megan. That's the reason why we were headed back, was because Megan was needing her stuff up in Flagstaff for school.
Oh yeah, we went to Flag to move her over to her apartment,
her new
right?
dorm, her apartment.
Her apartment, because school was getting ready to start for the fall semester.
So we took all the stuff that she had in the
storage
and took it up there, and then she went through it, and more than half of it went to Goodwill.
After we stored it for
After
all
we
that time.
stored it for a year.
And we still have some stuff stored still. She'll get it someday.
Yeah.
And then what do we do after we got Megan moved?
Then we came back to Phoenix and we stayed there for a few more days. We decided to stay there until after Labor Day because we decided not to travel on Labor Day weekend.
Right. Yeah, because probably be more expensive. Yeah.
So we stayed with Corey. We took him out a couple times. We went to that Fuzzy's bar.
Fuzzy bar, yeah.
And then you saw your doctors again.
Yeah, thought I need to get some prescriptions refilled. So
we also went to Bullhead City at that time.
Oh, we looked at some places up in that area too for homes. Decided it was hot, windy. Yeah. Went to Did we go over Laughlin?
Yeah, we went to Laughlin and we spent a day there. Oh, remember that room?
We stayed at.
That room was gorgeous.
And where
it was majestic.
Where was the dog?
It was the Majestic View, because I wrote it down. It was on the 17th floor of the Aquarius.
But where was the dog?
We must have put her in a.
Don't remember. Dog wasn't with us.
No, the dog didn't come with us. I must have. Drive to Bullhead City, arrived in. Huh. We must have put the dog
move on.
in there.
I don't know.
I don't
know.
know.
Anyways, go ahead. Because we're in about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, we weren't very impressed with the items in Bullhead, so then we decided to take off on. So we decided to decided to get the place in Lake Ozark, so we put a put a bid in for that, and then we
Offer.
we put in an offer for that, and that's all at Corey's. And then we on the 5th
Are we in September now? Okay.
we started toward the Ozarks, and we started looking for other properties to look at just in case they decided not to take our offer, and so then they decided to take our offer, and so we got a Airbnb over in
It's called, what was it called?
Wheelhouse,
Oh, Wheelhouse.
and it was right by Dock Knockers.
Oh, yeah. So if you're in Lake Ozarks, Wheelhouse, it's a condominium complex, a lot of Airbnbs in there. Nothing fancy. It was pretty reasonable. We stayed there for what, 10 days? 7 days?
Yeah, I think it was 7 days.
Something
It was
like that.
it was the deadline too,
Yeah,
so
it was quite a way. Cool. But Dock Knockers is like you just walk down to it. It's right below it.
yeah, it's right below it.
So we went there and went to Dock Knockers quite a bit during that time before we had opportunity to.
We
get our
actually
stuff.
we had to do the money and the
So yeah, get the money, sign the.
which that was a pain. So you should, if anyone gets a house in another state or another whatever, you should plan on transferring or opening up a bank account a lot sooner than what we did. We had a little trouble there with transferring money
Right.
to get it
They
over
don't
to them.
they don't let you transfer that kind of money. And I'm glad we did some of our homework on that because we were running into problems because we didn't wait till, I'm glad we didn't do it the morning. They told us that just come in that morning and you can just transfer the money right over, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work that way because there is no Wells Fargo down in
Not
this
in-
part of
yeah.
Missouri. And we had to get all this stuff done prior to signing that day because we were running out of time and we were going to close on the day we needed to close if we would have went by what they said. So do your homework on that before you're getting ready to close. You're not going to close on time. That was a pain.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then we got our stuff.
And then we had the house a couple days before we ended up, our Airbnb ended up. So we had a couple days in between. You kept on going over to the house and
working on
it.
Working on some things that I could notice needed to be worked on before we actually moved stuff in, and got our storage unit lined up. So we were ready to get stuff put in storage, even though our stuff was still in Phoenix, but we had a storage unit lined up. Make sure if you're doing something like that, get stuff lined up like that.
The other exciting thing that happened, I mean, we finally moved in, hopefully, and we were hoping the dog would be happy finally. She wasn't very happy with us the whole trip too much. So it took her a few weeks to get finally out of that. I'm afraid to get into the car type mode. But then after a couple weeks, our storage unit in Phoenix was hit by a truck. The roof was, or the overhang, or what was it?
Yeah, they wanted our stuff out right away.
So then,
actually a month early. So I wasn't planning on doing that quite yet. So it was sometime early September. Didn't need to be out of there till the end of October, right, or something.
end of
like that.
October, but it was the end of September is when
we got the
you
phone call.
left. Yeah.
And rented a car one way. Spent one night out. Drove in the next day. Spent a night with our son, rented the U-Haul the following morning, loaded the U-Haul. It was 113 that day in Phoenix. Loaded the U-Haul.
He thought it'd be a lot quicker, but it
was
took
all
you
day.
all day.
It was like 9 to 4. Thought I was gonna die. I'm not young, and
He didn't bring anything for him to drink.
yeah, I brought water and I brought a Gatorade.
Oh, okay.
I had that with me, but that didn't last very long. At 113, people at the storage unit was nice enough to let me sit in there for a few minutes every once in a while in the air conditioning and get some water. And then spent that night back at her son's house. And then I headed back to the following day, headed out to Missouri, spent one night out, and drove in late the following night.
I stayed home.
Yeah,
I stayed
Julie
here
stayed
with the
with the
dog.
dog.
Yeah.
Called Julie to meet over at the storage unit. Unloaded the whole U-Haul, returned the U-Haul that same day, and that is it. We are done. Right?
We're done.
We haven't really done too much since.
No.
Because
Not at
that
all.
just took us through about 6 months of our lives.
Mhm.
So we're here, and we're not quite used to the cold weather because it has turned cold
Yeah,
now.
it turned cold like a week ago.
It was a nice
been-
fall. It was nice to see the leaves fall. It was nice to see the season. Fall was beautiful. Everybody had, because in this complex that we're at, most people are flying, like live in St. Louis. So it's either, St. Louis area. Because it's like in between, Ozarks is right in between St. Louis and Kansas City. So most people are just summer people. This is their second homes. This is our full-time home. So in this complex, there's only like 3 full-timers. So it's pretty quiet. But now it was 22 degrees this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get used to ice being. I came across it was supposed to have snow flurries, but that didn't materialize, so that's good. So we're into it's Christmas. It's just had Thanksgiving. Just Julie and I was by ourselves. We found a local restaurant that was open. Did Thanksgiving there.
Mm-hmm.
We're heading back to see the kids sometime in December to Arizona, so we'll probably get back on, and if we see anything interesting, and so show some stuff, and
We're experienced travelers now, so it should be a breeze.
yeah, hopefully nothing goes. Yeah, so here I guess we're and we're going to probably look at maybe something in Lake Havasu for maybe the winter time, maybe November, December, January, February, because I don't know how much we like this cold weather. We're not used to the cold weather.
No.
Julie got her electric blanket in yesterday from Amazon, so
Yes.
that's on the bed. She's got an electric scarf. She's got a
Black
electric,
Friday deal.
What else? She got electric mittens too.
Yeah, I got heated gloves.
Yeah, she's
Heated
all
scarf.
set, and just wait till we get another
Electric
motorcycle.
blanket.
She'll be all set. So, anyways, that catches you up to date. Thanks for listening and jibber jabber, and hopefully we gave you some ideas for traveling, some do's and don'ts. It's been interesting. I think I'm done traveling for a while. We saw 13, 14 states. Like I said, put on 15,000 miles. Spent a lot of money. So wasn't planning on it, but a lot of gas money, a lot of money for hotels.
If we do anything, we'll just do a cruise
So
right away.
yeah,
That'll be our next thing. Just a
So
cruise.
it was, and another trip coming up here to Phoenix. So we'll be spending some money again, going to Phoenix, but we're going to do a quick turnaround. I think we're only going to go for a week and be back. See both the kids, and then probably go to Boise maybe sometime in the summer to see the oldest one and the grandson and his wife. And I think that's all on the agenda, maybe. And we've talked about a cruise sometime in there at some point again. But gonna watch some. We're about done, I think. So thanks for coming along on the journey, and hopefully you enjoyed it and got some ideas. And don't ever count yourself out. Just go do it. Don't think about it, I guess. Get it figured out and just go do it and have some fun along the way. So take care. See you in the next video. All right, bye.